Alright guys, and welcome back to the Saints View channel. Something content for our match preview and predicted lineup video ahead of the third round FA Cup clash at home to Shrewsbury Town tomorrow night. Thought I'd get a little preview in ahead of the game because of course it's a game, regardless of the fact of how seriously we want to take it. It's another fixture on the calendar and it's worth having a chat about. But before we get into it, do make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't yet already. Follow us on all of our socials. This video is kindly sponsored once again by the guys over at Pitch Sports. So if you haven't checked out their app yet already, download it with the link in the description. Right, let's get into it. Now, of course, we always want a cup run, especially this year. I think with Ralph, the fact that we've been doing very well in the league, it feels like a decent opportunity to maybe go and have a run in the FA Cup. Of course, that didn't happen in the League Cup, getting knocked out in the first round by Brentford, or second round, our first game, basically. But with everything that's been going on recently, you know, with injuries, with fixture congestion, because of obviously COVID and everything, it just doesn't feel that special anymore. It just doesn't feel like it's worthwhile going through almost the extra stress of a cup run. You know, we've already been given our fourth round and fifth round opponents. If we are to beat Shrewsbury tomorrow night, we'll play Arsenal at home on Saturday before we play them at home again in the league on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it is, in the midweek basically. So a couple of games against Arsenal at St Mary's within a few days. And then if we beat Arsenal in the cup, we've got to go to Wolves or Chorley, most likely Wolves, of course. But that'll be another midweek game. And it's a relatively winnable route to the quarterfinals, of course. You know, two Premier League sides who'd rather play lesser opposition. But Arsenal are beatable. Wolves are definitely beatable. They've proven that this season. So it's not too difficult of a task. It could have been a lot worse. You know, you could have been drawn against your Man Cities, United, Liverpool, etc. But it just doesn't feel right at the moment. It just doesn't feel like it should be the priority right now. You know, I've said it in another video. I said it on the socials. The Saints could potentially be playing 10 games within about 31 days, which is just nuts to think. You know, our squad at the moment is down to the bare bones with all the injuries. And to think that we'd have an incredibly congested fixture list just isn't pretty reading at the moment. And it just kind of feels like maybe we will have to sacrifice the cup, because we're still very capable of having a great finish and a great season in the league. You know, Europe is on. We could finish in a European spot, but I just don't feel like if we are to play 3 FA Cup games on top of that, with all these league games to come within the next month or so, it just doesn't feel like we're going to get the spot we want or the spot we deserve almost. You know, take the Leicester game as a great example. That just proved how much we're down to the bare bones, really. The amount of youngsters that were on that bench, you know, loads of players who haven't even made their debuts yet for the club. It just emphasised it, really. And you'd expect a handful of those players who were on the bench at Leicester to be starting tomorrow night. I just can't see a strong team whatsoever. I really hope it isn't a strong team. You know, Ralph's already said that we've got key players out still. You know, obviously we would do with the game coming only 3 or 4 days after Leicester. In fact, we've got more injuries in the fact that Will Smallbones suffered an ACL injury. Really gutted for him. I had a great game at the King Power on Saturday night. Really tidy 60 minutes or so, however long he was on the pitch for. So wishing him all the best with his recovery. Gutted for him. But of course, you've got to move on. He probably would have been in with a good shout to start actually tomorrow night. So it's kind of, again, leaving us with a really difficult situation in terms of who plays. Ralph said it's going to be a mixture of youth and, you know, experience, given the fact that we just have to play some first teamers in this one, because we don't have the capacity, even in the under-23s really, to just put out a reserve side. You know, I do want to see us do well in the cup. I always do, but it just feels like this year, you know, for our own goods, we might just have to sacrifice it. And, you know, we're playing League One opposition. We'll get onto Shrewsbury in a minute. But I think coming to Arsenal on Saturday, that's where, if we're playing a reserve side, we just will lose, and we will lose by a couple of goals, if not many. But let's talk about Shrewsbury. Not too much to say, really, given the fact that we're miles apart when it comes to league competition. They're 17th in League One, 3 points off the relegation zone, but they have got a game in hand, all because of this kind of COVID nonsense, really. It's not fair to call it nonsense, of course. It's affecting everyone right now, but they've had a massive outbreak, which is why we're obviously having to play this game on Tuesday. And if we win, the 4th round tie is on the Saturday. Personally, I was a bit surprised that we weren't given a bye. I just thought, given the fact that if you look back with the League Cup, I know it's a completely different competition and organisation that run it, but when Spurs were given a bye because Leyton Orient couldn't fulfil their tie, I didn't see why I was any different in this situation. But anyway, we played the game. Shrewsbury could prove a little bit of a difficult test for some youngsters, of course. It's almost like an EFL trophy tie, you know, that's how I've been seeing it, where we've basically got our under-23s coming up against the League One sides. You know, struggling in League One to an extent, but who knows how many key players they'll have as well because of this COVID outbreak. Their manager won't be in the dugout, Steve Cottrell. In fact, he was in intensive care over the weekend, so wishing him a speedy recovery as well. Not nice news at all. It's sort of the sense of the unknown, really. No one knows how this game's going to turn out. You'd expect Saints to win, even with a few reserves in there, some youngsters making their debuts. But yeah, who knows? And of course, I'm no expert on Shrewsbury, so we did get a Shrewsbury fan in Alex to come on and give us a bit of insight on what's happened with Shrewsbury over the last couple of weeks and how he's feeling ahead of the game on Tuesday night.
Hi guys, Alex here, friend of the Salopcast podcast, the podcast about Shrewsbury Town, where Ollie and Glyn every week talk about everything Shrewsbury Town. Really looking forward to the game on Tuesday. Seen a bit of Southampton this season and been quite impressed with what Ralph Hasenhüttl has done with Southampton. Our season's been very up and down. We've had a very tough start. That seems to have turned around now with new manager Steve Cottrell. I think our lineup this week may be quite weak. We've had a bit of COVID come through into the squad, hence why this match was rearranged. And our manager, Steve Cottrell, won't be there. He's currently recovering from COVID-19, so I just want to say get well soon to Steve. Yeah, I think this game will be a bit of a free hit for Shrewsbury. I think if it was to happen when it previously should have, it would have been a really good game. It would have been really competitive. We were on a bit of a run. I think that momentum may have dipped now. So I'm fully expecting Southampton to win on Tuesday. Obviously, it depends on the lineup that you boys put out, but I'm going to go with a solid 2-0 win to Southampton. I can't really see us getting a decent result after not being training for sort of 10 or so days. Everything being virtual with COVID-19 sort of ravaging the squad. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game on Tuesday. I'll be watching from home. And yeah, thank you very much for having me on, and stay safe.
I appreciate you for doing that, mate. Yeah, going on to the predicted lineup part of the video, this is going to be interesting. I really don't know how to call it. I've kind of used a bit of insight from the bench that we had at Leicester to give me an idea of who might be starting. But in goal, I think it's going to be Fraser Forster. I think that's relatively straightforward. Kept a clean sheet against Liverpool. Actually came in and did a decent job. Kept the champs of England quiet, I guess, a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, no reason why he shouldn't be coming in for this. And then in terms of the back four, I think we're going to see Jake Vokins and Jan Valery as the fullbacks. I don't see why they wouldn't play. And then at centre-back, I think we're going to see Jack Stevens stay in the team. I just can't see who else we play. And then next to him, Chapachet. I don't even know how you pronounce his name, but he was on the bench. He's a defender. A bench at Leicester, that is. He's a centre-back, so maybe he'll be in line for his first team debut. Going on to the midfield, I think Ibrahima Diallo is going to have to play this one. Oriol's still out. I don't really know who else we'd be playing in the middle right now. I don't want to be seeing Prowsey anywhere near this game. He needs a rest. So next to him, I think it's going to be Kegs Chalk. I think he's 18. He's been mentioned a lot recently. I think he's been doing really well for the under-18s, under-23s. Was on the bench against Leicester, so I think he might be coming in for this one. On the left, I think we might see Will Ferry, again, another player who was on the bench against Leicester. He's been on the bench for the first team a couple of times. You know, he's been in line for a first team debut for a while, so he might be getting that tomorrow night. And then on the right, I think we're going to see Theo Walcott. Now, I hope I'm wrong, because I don't want to see really Walcott near the game, Armstrong near the game, but I just don't know who else we'd be playing right now with the injuries we've got, unless Nathan Teller's back fit. And then up front, I think we're going to see Shane Long and Danon Ndulu, a bit more experience in that one, especially with Long. At the moment, just bringing him off the bench to try and make an impact doesn't seem like a worthwhile game plan, but it's all we've really got at the moment. And then on to my prediction again. Who knows what's going to happen in this one, but I'm just going to go confident and say Saints are going to cruise to a 2-0 victory. We might lose it. To be honest, I wouldn't be that bothered if we lose the game. It just means fewer fixtures, which is really sad because, like I said, I want a cup run. But for me, I just don't see how we're going to be able to properly fulfill a 4th round tie, even a 5th round tie with the games to come in the league. So yeah, that's how I feel ahead of the game. Let me know how you feel in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed the video, leave it a like, subscribe if you haven't yet already. Follow us on all of our socials, and we'll see you for the match review after the game tomorrow night. See you then, guys.